All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Freedom and Wealth Seekers podcast. This is episode number 26. Episode number 26. You saw the title, Her First Deal. Her first deal. So I have a special guest, one of your fellow Freedom and Wealth Seekers, one of our fellow inner circle members and academy members. Jennifer is going to be joining us at some point this evening. Busy day today. When you're busy, that means you're in the process of making money. So I hope all of you have had a busy Wednesday thus far. Have a lot to talk about. We have the interest rate hike. People are still talking about that. It was just a big meeting in Washington, D.C. today about the current state of the economy. A lot of conversation going on. I was at a little league baseball camp this afternoon and bumped into an old business associate, and the topic of the hour was the state of the economy and what's going to happen to real estate. It was a great conversation. Also, the news. There's some things going on in the news that I want to share that relates to the state of the economy. And you get your news from different places nowadays, from social media and actually from the mainstream news. Direct Mail Wednesday. Gotta tackle Direct Mail Wednesday. I've been receiving a postcard from a 20-year veteran in real estate. This is someone that I came up through the ranks with. She has been consistently sending me postcards about some of my property in Baltimore. And I want to talk more about that. Maybe one day I'll get Kathy on to share her story. Also, the Freedom and Wealth lesson, number 2. Remember, that's a new segment of the Freedom and Wealth Seekers podcast, is a lesson each and every week. And I'm pretty excited about sharing that with you. So I want to thank all of you for joining. First and foremost, I got to shout out all of our Freedom and Wealth Seekers that have been sharing the link to the podcast, have been sharing the YouTube channel, have been subscribing. Just this month, in the month of June, we've added 74 new subscribers to the REI Inner Circle YouTube channel, which powers the Freedom and Wealth Seekers podcast. So if you're wondering where the rest of the episodes are, this is your first time. I did send out an email today. This is your first time joining us. Head on over to YouTube and do a search for REI Inner Circle or Freedom and Wealth Seekers podcast. Make sure you subscribe, also like, and we need you to comment. We need everybody. We need all of our Freedom and Wealth Seekers to comment on the YouTube videos, because that increases our algorithm and it widens our reach. Okay, so our goal is to get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I believe we're right on target. We just got to keep grinding it out, and you all have to keep taking action with the information that I share. So before we get started, I am going to jump into the disclaimer for today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, understand that my content is intended and must be used for informational and sometimes entertainment purposes only. It is very important that you do your own due diligence before implementing any of the methods mentioned by myself or any of my guests, and using any of the tools that are shared. Any results that are shared on any of my platforms are not typical results. Any investment you make are based on your own personal financial situations and circumstances. And I highly recommend that you consult with a licensed professional and also verify anything that I share with you on these podcasts, or if you're watching some of the YouTube channels, make sure you're verifying the information. Now, I have been around 20 plus years. I've been teaching real estate since 2007. So, and a lot of my clients are successful. And when I say a lot, I'm not saying all. Remember, results aren't typical, but my clients that take massive action with the information, they study my information. They they really immerse themselves in the information. And number one, they're coachable, see results. In order to be coachable, you have to be present. Okay. So we'll get into some coaching later on this episode, but I have a special guest. You'll meet one of my coaching clients tonight, and she's going to share some of her story. She's a young lady that has taken massive action, but more importantly, she's just like a lot of you watching this, watching the recording, if you are. Speaking of students, I want to shout out all of our one-on-one inner circle members and all of our academy members. I also have to shout out the folks that inspired me to do this podcast. You hear me talking about these folks all the time. There is a gentleman that is not really on the internet yet. He's he's mentioned a lot, but it's a guy I grew up with. His name is Derek Falcon, and he owns a couple of restaurants in the Baltimore marketplace, but he's expanded nationwide, and he's opening up restaurants up and down the East Coast and probably on the West Coast pretty soon. But I had breakfast at his restaurant one day within the last year, and he said, "Marcel, you need to do more. You need to do more." He's always trying to push everybody to do more, as well as himself. And I say, you know what? I'm going to get into the podcast world again. If you all have been following me for years, you know we launched the Flip This House podcast in 2016, which was it wasn't any video. It was just audio of coaching calls that I've held since 2007. That's all I was doing, was publishing my coaching calls. And I ended up shutting it down because it just didn't feel, the energy wasn't there. And when Derek told me I need to do more, I had already been following some of his friends and the Earn Your Leisure brothers, Troy and Rashad. Sorry about that, Troy. Troy and Rashad. And they pretty much have given the entire world a blueprint, a framework to really how a podcast should be running. I don't know if they're gonna ever create a course on it, but they should. But they've given us the framework, but they've also inspired us because these two brothers, they've built a juggernaut in the media industry just off of their podcast, and they've brought on several different thought leaders from real estate to stocks to home care, you name it, car sales, credit repair. Every expert in the world has at some point converged onto that platform, and they're doing a beautiful thing. I've actually found two of my mentors. One of my biggest struggles as a entrepreneur is learning how to invest outside of my industry. Real estate comes easy to me. Okay, it's very simple. You can see it, you can touch it. It's all about the numbers, right? And you got other sectors, you got other industries like the stock market, right? And that's where I've always been confused. I've always been confused, but until one day I met, and when I say I met these guys online, Ian Dunlap and Wall Street Trapper, where they really break down stock investing on an elementary level. Easy. Now, not all their content, but it's enough where it's easy for, I believe, a 5-year-old to learn how to invest in stocks. So if you're taking notes tonight, make sure you write down Earn Your Leisure, you write down Ian Dunlap and Wall Street Tracker, because as I teach you how to invest in real estate, you need to learn how to diversify your profits. Okay, and those two guys and that platform are three resources that I would not leave home without. So let's get into the news for today. And this is, remember, I always look for how news impacts my business, and always look at what opportunities I find in the news. So I am going to share my screen, and I'm going to share two articles with you. One that I actually saw today for the first time. It just came out maybe within the last hour, but the other came out a couple of days ago, and the headline speaks. If I felt like the headline was speaking right to me, and I'll share my thoughts on this in a moment. So this is a site that I've used over the years whenever I start selling, whenever I'm in the process of selling a house. When I'm pricing a house, I would, and this was back in 04, 05, I would go to bankrate.com. They had a mortgage calculator. Put in the chat if you've ever used a mortgage calculator in bankrate.com. Put a yes in the chat if you've ever used the mortgage calculator over the last 10 years. Okay, so I'm familiar with this site. It's a trusted site. They published an article, and it read right to me. It said, what the Fed's June rate hike means to home buyers and sellers. So even though this article is really geared to consumer base, like they're talking about home buyers, people that are buying retail, and sellers, most likely some homeowners, of course, investors, real estate agents, things of that nature. As a real estate investor, I'm a home buyer too, okay? And I'm also a wholesaler, so I'm selling properties at a discount. So the interest rate hike does affect, I'm sorry, I'm looking over there because you guys over there, does affect your business and my business. And I'll give you an example. So recently, one of my clients had a really good deal in one of the best markets in the United States, Washington, D.C. They have this really good deal. And I priced the property between $300,000 and $400,000, okay? Now, I'm gonna show you the effect that the interest rate hike has had on the real estate market from a wholesaler's point of view. This property could have easily sold for $300,000 to $400,000. It did not sell for $300,000 to $400,000. Now, my student, if it would have sold for $300,000 to $400,000, she would have made $100,000 to $200,000 on the deal. Okay, it didn't happen because the interest rate hike. What's happened is it's caused a lot of investors to pull back. They're less aggressive. Some investors have already pulled out of the market. And also it has decreased the time, it's increased, the time it takes to sell a home in that particular marketplace. Okay, this is very important information, because around this time when things get a little, I would say, cloudy, like when there's a cloud over the market and things you can't see the light at the end of the day, that's when you start seeing the experience and the non-experience. You can really see the difference in the marketplace. And what I mean by that, the experience and the non-experience are the competitors, the competition, right? And what happens is some investors, and I've been there, and most of the time these are people that are brand new in the business, they don't pay attention to the news. They don't pay attention to the interest rate, and they continue to buy aggressively. And that's where investors get in trouble, okay? Because they're not tuning into the financial news. They're not watching what the market is doing. They're just trying to get to the next deal. Now, with the interest rate still going up, guess what's not going up? Inventory yet. So there's still a shortage of inventory, but you have to be very, very careful when you're acquiring new assets, whether you're going to rent them, if your plan is to rent them, if your plan is to fix them up and sell them. You have to proceed with extreme caution. So instead of my client making hundreds of thousands of dollars on this deal, she's going to make a little over $50,000. which isn't bad at all. And the person that's buying the property has been in the business, has been buying and renovating homes since 1965. So this investor has seen so many different market cycles. Okay, so many different market cycles, and we had to respect his offer. And I believe, everybody has a different business model, and I want to share with you why. I believe he's definitely paying more than what I would pay based on my numbers. However, his contractors, their rehab estimate is going to be a whole lot different than my rehab estimate. So he has a team of contractors that can get it done at a number where he can afford to pay a little more than what I could have paid for that property. All right. So again, I've always said this on podcasts: men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And at the end of the day, real estate is all about the numbers. So what I've seen in my marketplace are deals are sitting on the market a little longer. This is in my marketplace. And that's with wholesale deals and retail, meaning properties on the MLS. I'm also seeing buyers, home buyers. This is recent. They're asking for concessions. Okay, so I'm selling the house right now. It's a pending contract on a property. The buyer is asking for 2,500 at the table. Okay, a concession of $2,500. More and more home buyers are going to be asking home sellers for credits at the table, okay, for funds at the table to help with closing. You can put towards X amount of dollars towards closing, depending on the type of deal it is, depending on the type of financing that they have in place. So that's what I'm going through, and other investors in my marketplace are going through. The other thing that we're seeing is that home buyers, this is on the retail side, are asking for almost everything to be completed on a home inspection report. Usually, they may put down 3 or 4 items, but now it's a longer list of items that need to be completed before they settle. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. I totally respect that and I get it. But at the height of the market, people were just trying to get in homes. Okay, and I saw this in both cycles. I saw this in 2005, and I'm seeing it now in 2022. And in 2020, I saw people like not requesting a whole lot. You could actually negotiate what you're gonna fix, okay, when the market was hot versus what you're going to fix, okay? But now people are requesting and they're walking away from deals if you're not going to complete everything on a home inspection report. I see some folks in the chat. Somebody said hedge funds are pulling out the market. Excellent. Folks, let's get into this article really quick here. So let's see. The hike is designed to cool an economy that has been on fire since rebounding from the coronavirus recession in 2020. The dramatic recovery has included a red-hot housing market characterized by record-high home prices and microscopic levels of inventory. It was showing that inventory is scarce right now. Home prices are driven not just by interest rates, but by a complicated mix of factors. So it's hard to predict exactly how the Fed's new direction will affect the housing market. In the short term, higher rates are challenging for both home buyers who have to cope with steeper monthly payments and sellers who could experience less demand for their homes. Okay. Now, when I read that, remember, I'm always looking for opportunity in the market. And someone asked me this question today at the baseball field: how is the interest rate affecting your business? And I said, man, I really believe I have a recession-proof business because I specialize in purchasing distressed properties. Okay. Now you can, I lie to you not. You all can go on YouTube right now and type in how to buy a house to rehab, right? And I guarantee you, the thought leaders that just jumped in, started teaching people on YouTube, they're telling you to buy at 70% of the ARV. They're telling you to buy at 70% of the ARV. Let me tell you something. I've never purchased a property since 2002 at 70% of the ARV. That's one of the first lessons and the most vital lessons you could ever learn as a real estate investor. As a real estate investor, put in the chat, if you're in this business to make money. Put yes in the chat. If you're in this business to make money, I need everybody to participate. If you're in this business to make money, I need you to put yes in the chat. All right. I see one person put yes in the chat, 2 people, 3 or 4, 5, okay, 6 people. Everybody's here to learn how to make money. So if you're buying at 70% of the ARV, right? That means there's only about 30% left for you to capture a profit. If you're strictly going off of the numbers and not speculation. And when I mean speculation is, if the house is worth $100,000 fixed up, you're going to be all in at $70,000. That's acquisition and repairs. You're not saying by the time I fix the property up, it's going to be worth 120. Okay. So you make yourself believe you're going to make not 30, but $50,000 on the deal. That's the wrong way of investing. And that's when the housing market got in trouble back in 2008. There was a lot of speculation in the market. When I say housing market, I'm talking about the investor market, okay? The retail market really got in trouble, but the investor market got in trouble too because people became, write this down, over leveraged. And how do you become over leveraged? When, in a couple of different ways, but I'm gonna give you one. When you're buying a property for investment at a price that's really truly higher than what you should be buying, and the value doesn't go up, it decreases. The house that was selling for 300 is now selling for 250. That just wiped away $50,000 from your profit. And I'll give you a case in point. One of my latest deals, we put on the market for $270,000 before the interest rate hike. We had to drop the price $20,000, a little over $20,000 to get people to go look at the property, not to mention to get an offer. Okay. So if we'd have purchased at 70%, dropping the price, if that was the ARV, if 270 was the ARV, and that's what we said the house was going to be worth when we purchased it initially at 70% of 270, we would be out a ton of money right now. Okay. It just doesn't add up. So I like buying properties 30 cents on the dollar, 40 cents on the dollar, at most 65%. But lately, I haven't even been buying at 65%, 10 cents on the dollar. That's where the real money's made, number one. But also you're in a safe space if the economy implodes. If the housing market starts to slow down, you still have enough built-in equity in the deal. Put in the chat if this makes sense. Just put a yes in the chat if I'm making sense. I don't have a PowerPoint up tonight. I'm just going off of what's in here, folks. I'm giving it to you from the gut tonight. Let's see. Let me stop share here. Is it making sense to you all? Let me know. Yes. Good. So this is a rule of thumb, and this isn't the lesson for tonight, but this is a lesson. Try to get your properties 10 cents on the dollar. And one of the best ways of doing that is buying local government foreclosures. All right. I had another client today. He just got approved for a local government foreclosure in Baltimore, Maryland. House is worth anywhere between $120,000 and $150,000 right now in this market. All right. I'm talking about market after the interest rate hike. He's picking a property up for $2,400. Local government foreclosure. All right. $2,400. That's less than 10 cents on the dollar. All right. But you can get properties 10 cents on the dollar, 20 cents on the dollar, 30 cents on the dollar going through local government foreclosures. So anywhere the safe place is between 10 cents on the dollar to 60 cents. And I'm talking 10% to 60% of the after repair value. Because the values last month, and I kind of went off on a rant, are not the same values this month. And we're in home buying, peak home buying season, historically. So the deal that Jennifer put under contract, her first deal in Washington, D.C., and we're going to get to that, the buyers that called me, they said, if this deal was available last month, I would have easily paid $300,000 plus for the deal. It would have easily paid that, easily paid that. And we're gonna take you all of our Freedom and Wealth Seekers, we're gonna take you to the property virtually, of course, throughout this month, going into next month. We're gonna follow this deal all the way to the closing table. We're gonna pull back the curtain, show you the ins and outs of this deal. And it's just like any of the other case studies I've shared with you in the past. Folks, it's simple. You get the information, the right information, and you take consistent action with that information. Something inspired me today. I was on Instagram, and I'm gonna put that link in the chat. Before I do that, let me go back so I remember. I want to put the link in the chat to that article from Bankrate. Okay. Let's go here. There's another article that just came out. It's fresh. Just came out on 22nd, and it says what Fed Chairman Powell sees for the housing market. So I'm gonna share both of these articles, but due to time, I'm not gonna jump into this. So everybody here will get both of these articles. Well, that's the first one. And I want you to look for opportunity in the market. And I skipped around what the opportunity was in that first article. It is, well, it mentioned properties may stay on the market longer. So now you have to compete, right? So if I know some of you seekers out there are rehabbing houses, and I want to give you some tips because it is going to get tougher and tougher and tougher. I've sold renovated homes, retail, at prices where I still made a profit during a recession. It can be done, but you have to offer perks. So seller help, those are the concessions that I mentioned earlier. Straight off the bat, putting that in the listing. In certain markets, like my market, the counties or cities have special programs. If a property had been vacant for X amount of years and it had a vacant property notice, they're now incentivizing people to come back into the city to purchase these properties, and they're giving them grants to go towards their purchase. So that is a plus. It depends on your market where you're at. This wasn't around the first go around, the first recession of 08. I still had to sell properties. There weren't really any grant programs, right? So what I did, I got really creative. I used to put in the listing, this home comes with 1 year free house cleaning every month. 1 year, I will pay a house cleaning service and you all can Google house cleaning services in your market. That would come out of the price. So when I sold the home, I would pay for house cleaning for every single month of the year. All right, that would help sell the house. Sometimes I would include a home warranty. Home warranties back in the day would cost like $300. Now they can go up to like $700, depending on what you're getting a warranty on in the property. So I'm giving people that are buying homes home warranties. I'm actually doing that today, not because I want to do it. Actually, home buyers are requesting it, or their real estate agents are requesting that now. All right. So when you get into a buyer's market, right? Because I feel like we're coming out of a seller's market. When you get into a buyer's market, well, now buyers have the leverage, okay, and they can make special requests. So kind of meet them where they are, and I'm kind of giving you the psychology of what these home buyers and even real estate agents are what they're thinking, right? I want to stay on task here. So yeah, I was inspired today, right? I saw this video about one of my stock mentors, Wall Street Trapper, and I said, I gotta talk about this. And it really rung a bell. And this, I'm gonna tell you right now, tonight's podcast is gonna go over because I got a lot to talk about. Is it all right if I go over tonight? Put a yes in the chat if it's okay to go over. So, because you gotta hear Jennifer's story. It's so inspiring. Um, but he was talking about the wealthy, and he said the wealthy, they hold their money in assets, real estate, stocks, cryptocurrency. We're going to talk about crypto tonight. So I thought about that and I was like, he's absolutely right. And if you all have been around me, I know some of my students, you've been around me for a long time. I've always talked about the courthouse leads. And in my marketplace, there's a office. You all can write this down because this is all over the country. This is a wealth tip I'm about to share with you. I've been going down to the courthouse since 2006. All right, in my market. Actually, before then, 2004. But this one particular office at one of the courthouses in my city is called the Register of Wills. Now, today, nobody can go to the Register of Wills, sit in the office and do research. Okay, maybe if you know somebody there, but there's like this new rule, and I'm gonna shoot a video this week about that. There's a new rule that was implemented, I guess, when during the changing of the guard, when a new politician got in office down there at that office, they have new policies and procedures. Now, and matter of fact, I'm going to talk about it tonight. Anyway, when I was going down there back in the early days, I didn't know what I was looking at. And I would come across estates. These are people that passed away. And I would notice something. I would notice the estates with the assets. All right. Okay. They would have a list of all the assets. And the assets would be real estate, would be bonds, would be stocks, and other financial instruments, right? I would notice, and when you pass away, if you're organized right now, when you pass away, okay, you may have a will, you may have all your affairs taken care of, but when you pass away and the estate has to be open, someone has to take inventory of everything that you own, from furniture, paintings, homes, accounts, everything, right? And that is now becoming public record because creditors may make claims. Anyone that may have a claim against the estate can make a claim. So what I noticed, and this speaks right to what Wall Street Trapper was saying, was that the wealthy would have most of their cash in investments. And I saw this with my own eyes. And this was early 2000s when I started going down. I didn't know much about stocks, but I noticed they were all investing kind of in the same thing. Exxon, Mobil, that's the oil companies, okay? Bank of America, Visa. I would see Nike. I would see the wealthy's stock accounts, and they would be in the millions of dollars, okay? But their checking accounts and savings accounts would have no more than $275,000. And that's like in different accounts, different banks. They have very little cash, some millions of dollars in stocks, only tens of thousands in checking accounts. Okay. I saw this with my own eyes year after year, month after month, year after year. All right. Because pretty much every month, there's a group of people that pass away. All right. And that means estates are open every single month. You got to write this down, folks. People are born every day. People die every day. All right. People are born every day. People die every day. And it's an old saying in my community, say, if you're in any of those businesses, you're going to do very well. If you're in the baby business, you're going to do very well. If you're in the mortuary business, you're going to do very well because that just makes sense, right? Same principle applies in real estate. If you focus on properties that have been left by people who have passed away, you're probably going to make some money if you know how to evaluate a deal and you know how to make an offer. All right. There's a strong chance, I'm not going to guarantee it, but there's a strong chance you can make money in this business. And I've done a lot of business going down to the Register of Wills office. Now, you can't do it now in my market, in the city, but you have offices all over the country, offices all over the state, where they actually still allow you to go in and do the research. It's public record. Let me time check, because I definitely want to get something off my chest. So we're good time. So I made a huge fuss. This was around 2018. One day I took a client down to the courthouse. We were sitting in the office. And I went down there because some of my clients were telling me that they were getting turned away. I was really upset about that because I'm a tax-paying citizen and we have rights to public information. So I go down and I'm sitting there and the system isn't working the same way. Now, in my state, the Register of Wills system works the same, right? So the system wasn't allowing us in. And basically, there were 3 or 4 stations in the Register of Wills office. They wanted us out of their hair. They didn't want anybody in the office doing research. Now, this office is run by people that look like me. This office is in a building where people that look like me are getting sentenced to life in some cases, or many, many years away from their family, right? And if we all know statistics. Why do most people commit crime? Because they don't have money. That's most of the time a crime is committed is because of lack of resources and money. So when I got into business in those early 2000s, 2002, in 2006, that I may have been the only Black guy in there, maybe another, doing research. And there'll be some white guys in there. But nobody ever got hassled. But as the internet starts to blossom, information becomes more readily available, it's now a problem. When my people are in there doing the research, learning how to build wealth, buying distressed assets, we can't do it. So I talked to like the 3 people, and my voice raised. If anybody knows me, when I get into a debate, I raise my voice. I'm raising my voice with Mr. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so, and Mrs. So-and-so. I'm going through all the lines of chains of command, and they're telling me the reasons why. Catch this. Why we can't have access to the information anymore at the office is because they're getting inundated with calls from people that are in charge of the estates, saying people are calling them about buying properties in the state. There's no law against that. Okay. It's not in writing. I asked them to show me where that is in the book, in the policies and procedures, but they just didn't want to do the extra work of picking up the phone and dealing with that. But it doesn't matter because all that information is online. It's a little harder to gain access to. It's a little more work, but that information for that particular city is still online, right? However, having access to the accounts and seeing what people have invested in over the years is not available unless you spend a little money to gain access to that. And there's no real way of gaining access, knowing who has what, because you're not sitting in front of the main database. All right. So it's crazy just to think like we've come this far where we didn't have access in the 50s, 60s, right? We didn't have access after slavery. We didn't have access to information that our own people that look like us, whose ancestors struggled because they didn't have access to information, are playing gatekeeper to information that could change our lives, that could lower the incarceration rate, right? No, you can't come in. And it's crazy because I started um, following some of the people in the office on social media, and I would see comments that they would say, if you come to this office, uh, have some respect and wear business attire. What if that person can't afford business attire? I can't like you work for the local government and you're telling the public how to dress in their office, but you're a public servant. So it's just confusing to me. And I didn't let that stop. I just had to teach it a different way. But these are some of the things we're still up against. Like people say all the time, you know, you know, we talk about racism, but there are a lot of people that look like us that are racist against us. No, nobody's really prepared to, nobody really has the guts to say that. But I've experienced that in my 41 years of life. I've experienced racism from my own people. Okay. And when we talk about racism, we're talking about hate, right? We're talking about cutting off resources. Okay. Early 2000s, there weren't a lot of people that looked like me that knew how to invest in real estate that were willing to share the information to get in real estate. There's a whole nother terminology for those type of people, but those exist. Those scarcity mentality people still exist in 2022 when African Americans statistically are at the lowest level in regards to wealth. They're saying in 30 years, African Americans will have 0% wealth in the United States. That's a true statement. There's a gentleman on the Earn Your Leisure platform named MG, the mortgage guy. He has statistics that show that Mexican Americans are now outpacing African Americans in the home ownership rate. We're behind. We used to be above. Okay, and it's because of that type of mentality that I encountered in my local government in regards to public information that has helped me make hundreds of thousands of dollars, that have helped my students make millions of dollars in real estate since 2007. Millions have been generated through this one office. And now it's not accessible. But it is, but it's online. All right. And if you're in my academy, if you're one of my one-on-one students, you know how to access that information through a printed publication or through the online resources that we share in the academy. But I had to get that off my chest because it really made, when I saw Wall Street Trappers video on YouTube today, it really brought back that memory from 2018 when our own people were limiting access to information at the courthouse. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to do this podcast, to get more real estate investing information and resources out here. Speaking of resources, I want to go right into the lesson, and then we're going to go into the Direct Mail Wednesday segment. But I want to share a couple of websites that I still use today in my business. And I want to share with you all, and you may be familiar with these sites. So the first one is rentalmeter.com. Okay, one of my clients is, I pulled this up today. He's renting one of his properties out Section 8. And we were checking what the market rents were going for in his neighborhood. And he's actually, this is what I love about Section 8. In some neighborhoods, you will get more than what the market paying tenants are paying from the local government, right? From not the local government, the federal government. So he's actually getting close to $2,000 a month for one of his properties. But they go by address search. If you get the free trial and you get a yearly annual membership, you can actually do a neighborhood search. You can do a zip code search, and you can do a city if you'd like, but it gives you the rental comps. And as we move into this new economy, okay, one of my exit strategies is buy and hold, because as home prices go down, if people begin to lose their jobs, and as we already saw from the last podcast, a lot of big real estate tech firms are laying off. Okay, the Redfins of the world, the Compass of the world, they're starting to lay off employees. So that is a sign. Now they could just be preparing for worse, or or they something's going on with their finances where they have to lay people off. Okay, because properties are not selling as fast as they used to. Okay, money is not coming in as fast as it used to. Now, going into the lesson, this is auction.com. Auction.com, as easy as it sounds, right? All you have to do is go to auction.com. Now, auction.com, a lot of these platforms now have resources where you can learn. This goes into immersing yourself in the information. When a new student partner gets enrolled in one of my programs, I tell them, outside of my information, I need you to immerse yourself in any and every bit of information regarding the real estate. Any news articles, any blog articles, you need to be reading. Like, you need to cut off the what is it? The sports games, the reality TV, the Netflix, the Hulus. You need to cut all that out, and you need to go ape the faint in regards to your real estate investing business. Talking it, breathing it, eating it, every minute of the day, you're around the business in some form of fashion. So auction.com, they actually have a blog, okay? They have a blog with a lot of really good articles, right? But more importantly, they're a nationwide auction company. So you can look up bank-owned properties, you can look up foreclosures. Now, why do I use this site? Okay, why do I use it? I use this site for market research. Okay, so if I'm interested in Akron, I've been talking about Akron. I'm going to speak Akron, Ohio into existence. I'm going to end up buying some property there soon. Okay, when I'm looking at Akron, Ohio, I want to see how many properties they have available. Number one, there's 24 properties. Inventory again is low, right? But also what I want to know is I want to know the addresses of these properties. So I'll look at the addresses and I'll save these. And as they start selling, as these start selling, I am going to see how much they sold for. Now, look at what auction.com provides you. With some of these properties, it shows you estimated resale value, 73,000. Estimated opening bid, 63,000. Okay, I don't know the condition of this house. It may be worth 63 or more, but they're saying you can sell for 73. Here's another one. Akron, Ohio, opening bid 10,000. This is a 3-bed, 1.5 bath. I'm gonna click this property. There's only one, there's 31 photos, okay? So we're starting the bid at 10,000. And this is a single family house. Replacement windows, the outside doesn't need any work. Is it 31 pictures of the outside? It's a beautiful street. Okay, we go inside, fairly decent. When I say fairly decent, the kitchen. I mean, this is almost livable. Like, it looks like the people just moved out. Wow. Bathroom looks fairly decent. This really just needs a new cleaning. Like, I'm looking at this property, I'm like, oh, I could put less than 5 grand in this and get it rentable again. Okay. So I'm using this as a resource. I may buy via auction online, but more importantly, I'm using it, like I said, market research as a resource to do market research, because I'm interested in this market. And I'm interested for 2 reasons, for buy and hold reasons and wholesale. So if I'm clocking, what I mean, if I'm following the properties that are selling via auction through auction.com, and I follow these properties all the way up to sale, and I check uspropertysearch.com to see how much they sold for, I now can gauge what I will need to do when making my offers to put myself, my company in a profitable situation if I intend to wholesale these properties to investors. Not to mention the results from auction.com. Now they don't show their results unless you bid and you lose. Of course, you're going to know the result at auction, but they don't show how much the houses are sold for. All right. I've never seen them show it. You have to do that research to look in public record to see what they sold for. So now I'm also collecting buyer information, cash buyer information, because most of the time when you buy an auction, you're paying cash for the property. So there are many websites like auction.com. You have Hubzu. They've been around for quite, I've been talking about them for almost 10 years now. You also have Exum. Nope, this is the wrong site. This is definitely the wrong site. Let me find the site for you all. Here it is here. X, I don't even know how to pronounce this. We're gonna just call it X Home, okay? It's too much of a tongue twister. But here they have auctions, they also have listings, and more importantly, your local auction sites, all right? Your local auction sites. I cannot stress how important it is to have access to the local auctioneers in your market. Every single morning, I get a text. I'm going to try to pull this up. I'm going to show you how early I get text. Let's see here. Or sometimes it's late at night, but I'll get a text. So yesterday I got a text at 7, and this also shows you how the market's slowing down. I usually get a text daily from my auctioneers. Lately, it's been slowing down. So yesterday at 7:15, I received a text. You can see these are all the texts I get from my auctioneer about properties that are being sold. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, today's Wednesday, I didn't get a text today. That means the inventory, they don't have any. Nothing's available right now. They don't have enough inventory to put out an auction online today, right? So they sent me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 properties yesterday that are going for auction. If all 10 of those sell, that means there are 10 new cash buyers that I can add to my buyers list. If this is making sense, y'all, put it in the chat. It's making sense. Put yes if it's making sense in the chat. There's people still trying to log on. I love it. I love it. Jennifer, is it making sense? Okay, good. So that's the lesson for today, right? I wanna talk about Direct Mail Wednesday. I want to talk about this mail piece. This is an excellent mail piece. I know it converts, and I want to share it with you all right now. I'm having fun tonight. If you're having fun tonight, put a yes in the chat. I'm having fun talking about real estate, what I love to do. So this is a mail piece that I received from Kathy. It's really plain, right? It has my mailing address. It has her name, Kathy London. It has her return address, her city where she's at. And then it has a really simple message. We find low price properties in Baltimore City all the time. If you're looking to buy more houses, please join my mailing list. You can also call to see what I have available now. Kathy puts her phone number in here and her email. P.S. We are also looking to pick up some more properties in Baltimore. Let me know if you have anything you would like to sell. So Kathy knows, and I've known Kathy for almost 20 years now. She knows that I like to buy property. Okay. Maybe that's why she sent this to me, but I don't think she knew it was me because she sent it to my LLC. Oh, right. She sent it to my LLC, and I'm not going to give Kathy 3 thumbs up. She's going to get 2.5 because there's always some constructive criticism and things that she can add. But guess what? I am an aggressive home buyer, and I would respond to this if I was in the market to buy my next deal, right? She gives me 2 ways of contacting her, cell phone and email. Now, I will say, out of all the direct mail pieces I've received, we've been at this 26 weeks, folks. And before that, we did the late night podcast. Kathy is the first investor that has sent me a postcard asking if I wanted to join her buyers list. I want y'all to understand something. The only competition in the market right now is you. You are your competition at the end of the day. You. That's it. She's the only wholesaler that sent me a postcard trying to get me added to her buyers list. There's a lot of people trying to wholesale property right now. There's a lot of people putting property under contract. They can't sell their properties because they don't have a buyers list. This lady's been in the business almost over 20 years, and I may be wrong. She may be in the business longer than that. I know she was in the business when I started, right? I haven't had a conversation about her career, but she's a 20+ year veteran, and she's still building her business. She's still building a business because just like this postcard, there are people just like those babies that are born into real estate every single day. There's a new real estate investor born every single day. And it doesn't matter if the market's up or the market's down. Got to talk about the Freedom and Wealth Academy that is launching at the end of this month, folks. Folks, if you want access to templates like this, you can take a screenshot of this right now. But we have hundreds and hundreds of templates, and we have resources where you gain access to direct mail. You learn how to buy properties 10 cents on the dollar through local government foreclosures. You learn how to wholesale properties like Kathy and build a cash buyers list. You learn how to rehab a property successfully. You learn the buy and hold process. You learn the whole kit and caboodle in the Freedom and Wealth Seekers Academy. The Academy is less than a car payment. Average car payment today is over $600 a month. We're opening up the Academy at a low payment, monthly payment of only $347 per month. No obligation. If you don't want to be a member of the Academy next month, you don't have to. You cancel your membership, we cancel your access to all of the content and the live Zoom calls and some of the other resources. But it's up to you. We only want to work with the people that want to change their life, okay? That want to actually change their life. You don't want to be the type of person, that's saying 10 years from now, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. And I've said this a lot at my seminars over the years. You don't want to be that person 20 years from now when properties in your neighborhood are selling for $1 million and you could have probably purchased 3 or 4 of those. You don't want to be, I could have did that if I'd have learned that. I should have did what Marcel told me to do, but I decided not to. Folks, it's going to be up to you. I have an opportunity for you to join a growing community inside of our community of Freedom and Wealth Seekers. People like Jennifer that are actually seeing results. Jennifer, I have been talking and talking and talking. I know I told you to come on and inspire the folks. I'm going to ask you to unmute. How are you this evening, Jennifer?
I'm myself. I'm doing good.
Good, good. Jennifer, I really appreciate you coming on this evening and sharing some of your story with us. Jennifer, what I gotta ask this. Some people may wonder, they saw the text message, they saw the email, but I want folks to know a little of your background. Like, what do you do? What have you done for a living up to this point,
Okay,
full time?
so for the past 20 years, I was an educator in the DC public schools and in charter school system. So that's pretty much what I've been doing, education in different facets.
Understood, understood. Now recently we we did a challenge, and you challenged yourself. Was it 30 days or 60 days to get a
Okay,
deal under contract?
so I didn't challenge myself. You challenged me. You
Well,
said,
that's what a mentor and a coach
yes.
is hired for. And folks, if you don't have a mentor or a coach that is challenging you, that is making you uncomfortable, you will not see you will not see greatness. You will not experience greatness. And I speak from a place of experience because I've been coaching most of my adult life. I started coaching youth basketball. I just started coaching again, uh, the little munchkins, and uh, and I don't really challenge them as much as I challenge the older kids, but when I was challenging the older kids, but the same principle applies. And I'm glad you brought that up. You know, I'm not in a coaching mode right now. I'm in a
Okay.
conversation mode. Some of
Okay.
these people I may end up coaching that are watching this, but it's I go ahead and finish telling your story.
So no, it's no problem. So you challenged me to a 90-day challenge, and you
Mhm.
told me I had to get a property on under contract within
Yes,
90 days, and that 90 days was up June 14th. So
yes,
the beginning of June, I was like, oh no, I don't have anything under contract. So I was like, okay, it's time for me to get serious and really like buckle down. And I just really kept doing my positive affirmations and just saying to
nice.
myself, like, you are going to do this in your 90 days. And so,
Yes,
I mean, got kind of tight, but I actually got under contract on June 11th. So I was like, oh my God, I actually won the challenge. So I was really excited about that.
that's huge. That's huge.
Mhm.
Now we're gonna take folks into the house for a second, right?
Mhm.
I'm not gonna share any pictures today, but they'll see the inside. What was the condition of this house when you finally got a chance to lay eyes on it?
Well, it was like a straight up porterhouse, like to the point where you couldn't see the floors at all. There's a lot of stuff all
Yes,
around. And so it was like it was really in bad condition. Like the door was off the hinges, like
yes,
it was really a bad, like a house that was in bad condition.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, I wanna kind of future pace here. Nothing sketched in stone yet, but it is looking good. What are you poised to make on this deal when it closes?
So when it closed, I'm supposed to get $56,000. So
Amazing.
so
We gotta
yes,
give an
amen.
applause to Jennifer. To
Yes.
Jennifer. And let me ask. I always ask this question. This is a famous question. Did you use any of your own cash and any of your own credit to put this deal together?
I did not use any of my own cash, just resources. So that was it. So
Excellent, excellent. So we're gonna see how this deal rolls out. This was Jennifer's first property of many that she's put on under contract, and that's one of the biggest hurdles a new investor experiences is getting to the first deal. Getting to the first deal. And as this unravels, we're going to share some of the steps she took to put the property under contract. But I want to ask Jennifer a question that some of you may have. Jennifer, how did it feel to get your first property under contract?
it felt
Just a
great.
feeling. Just a
It
feeling.
felt great. I mean, it felt very I couldn't believe it. Like it was unbelievable. So I mean,
Amazing.
yeah, it was like
Amazing.
I finally did it. So
Would you agree that your belief in the business, the real estate business, has gone up a bit since that
oh,
experience?
like 150%.
And would you believe that, you know, by implementing the information that I share it's heightening your awareness and your belief in regards
Yes.
to the business as well?
Yes, and everything is like coming together. Like once I actually got under contract, all the things that you've been teaching me, it kind of like it started making more and more sense.
Right. And I didn't put the property under contract for you. You did it
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah, yes,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. There's a lot of people they think, oh, he's done it for 20 years. He could do it for me. No, I'm not a stockbroker. I'm not a real estate broker. I'm a real estate investor. I just share information. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, ooh, we went on for over an hour. I love it. I love it. I gotta shout out again. I gotta shout out all of our Freedom and Wealth Seekers, all of our Inner Circle 101 members. Jennifer, thank you for blessing us this evening with such an inspiring story. People are going to be looking forward to hearing more about how this deal unravels. We're not stopping here, though, Jennifer. That neighborhood, like I told you, I believe there's a lot of opportunity there. And I believe you are going to end up pulling a lot more deals out of that community very soon when we start implementing your personal branding and the different marketing campaigns and any of the ideas that you may want to implement in regards to those as we continue to move the ball forward. So Jennifer, again, thank you for logging on and sharing with us this evening. So folks, I am going to end here, folks. It's been a great ride tonight. Episode 26 is in the books. We're doing some editing on these episodes, so it's taking a little longer than expected. So we're going to have them on YouTube as soon as possible. We're going to be breaking these down. So much information shared and syndicating it out on YouTube. Don't forget to share our YouTube channel, REI Inner Circle, where we power the Freedom and Wealth Seekers podcast. And also, you can follow me on social media. The pictures of Jennifer's house was actually in my story over the weekend, and if you saw it, I'm pretty sure your eyes were open. It may still be there. So, folks, have a great evening, and I look forward to seeing you all at the closing table very, very soon. Take care and God bless. Bye bye.